Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Farifki bin Muhammad Aziz. My ID number is TA19151. For the introduction, metal are chemical elements that are known generally for their metallic, luster, strength, hardness, and ability to conduct heat and electricity. Metals are generally not used in their pure state but as a mixture of metal or metal and non-metal constituent commonly referred to as alloy. For the metal casting process, metal casting is a modern process with an ancient root. In the metal casting process, metal shapes are formed by pouring molten metal into a mold cavity, where it is cooled and later extracted from the mold. Metal casting is arguably the earliest and most influential industrial process in history. It used to make many of the metal objects used in our daily life, such as automotive pipe, train wheel, lamppost, school bus pedal, and much more. Plus, metal casting foundries rely on metal recycling as a cost-efficient source of raw material, significantly reducing wasted scrap metal that might end up in landfill. Thank you.
Good morning, doctor. My name is Dani Samarsam and my ID is TA19120. Today I'm going to explain about the material selection of this topic. Of course, you know that our metal that we choose is steel. Okay, steel is the most versatile engineering material that available today, and it can be easily welded and processed and plays a vital role in maintaining the high standard of living enjoyed by the industrial nation of the world. The versatility of steel can be easily recognized by its application, which range from high strength structural application to excellent corrosion resistant in aggressive fluids. The next we are going to see about the factors that made us choose steel as our company product. Okay, the first factor is design flexibility. The designer of casting has the greatest freedom to design choices. This allows for complex shapes and hollow cross-section parts. The second factor is the metallurgy manufacturing flexibility and strongest variability. One can choose a different chemical composition and control that is adapted to the various requirements of different projects. This offers the different heat treatment choices in the larger context of the chemical properties and performance, also offering good weld ability and workability. Okay, the third factor is the steel is a kind of isotropic material and can be made into the overall structure strength steel casting. This improves the reliability of project coupled with the design and weight. The advantage of short delivery time, price and economy give cast a competitive advantage. Okay, the fourth factor is the weight range of the steel castings is larger. Little weight can be only few dozen grams of molten mold precision castings. The weight of large steel castings goes up to several tons, dozens and tons or hundreds of tons. Okay, next we are going to see about the workforce that needed for the steel casting factory. The first one is pattern makers. During the process, metal is heated until it becomes liquid and is then poured into molds to make castings. Foundry pattern makers create full-scale three-dimensional models as pattern for making the molds. The second is metallurgical engineer. Designing and modifying pattern blueprints is the responsibility for the metallurgical engineer. This position requires degree in engineering and they understand aspects in foundry include heat treating principles, metal testing procedures, quality control certification, documentation and the various mold process. Okay. The next one is core maker. Core maker work is to clean the core box with compressed air before it is filled and then remove the sand cores after each cycle. Maybe the core maker may be required to bake the cores, assemble them and repair them. They may also be involved in filling and packing sand into the core box. Okay, the next work is core setter. Core setter Core-setter job is to set the core into the mold manually. The main responsibility is to position the core properly in the open mold. Okay, the next work is metal pourer. Metal powder work is collect samples, read temperature gauges, and adjust furnace flames or electrical heating unit so that the metals melt to specification. And they are trained to spot defects and color changes in the metal. Okay, and their work also examine mold to ensure it was clean and smooth. Okay, the next work is casting grinder. The casting grinder work is must be detail oriented and maintain the ability to lift and handle some relatively heavy castings. Okay, the next job is molders. Molders form sand molds for use in the production of metal casting. They requires knowledge of the properties of metals and sand mixtures, pattern shapes, and pouring procedures. There are more than 150,000 molders and molding machine setters, operators, and tenders are employed in the metal and plastic industry of Malaysia. Okay, the next work that we are going to see is engineers. Before an order is begun, foundry engineers coordinate with customers and the sales team to understand how the part customers need will be used, then use the information to design the molds accordingly. Must be able to read the engineers work is must be able to read blueprints, coordinate with pattern makers or outside pattern vendors, and understand how to design gates and risers to assure proper mold filling. And engineers can use the software such as Microsoft to simulate and optimize process casting processing. They also must be able to envision how all segments of the casting process fit together, resulting in high quality parts production while ensuring workplace safety. Okay, the last job is production manager. Production manager's work is oversees the casting process from start to finish, ensure that the appropriate personal equipment and materials are available for the job, and they're responsible for technical and quality issues as well as key production metrics. They must ensure that all staff have the appropriate training for their roles, and they also must have excellent organizational skills and be a strong leader and communicate well with others. Okay, the last subtopic is the market demand for the steel. The Malaysia steel shaft market has value at 82.4 million US dollar in 2018 and expected to reach 115.9 million US dollar by 2027, growing at CAGR of 4.02% during 2020 until 2027. The rising demand for high quality shaft material from large and heavy end use industrial is a major factor expected to propel the market growth over the forecast period. In addition, superior chemical properties exhibited by steel is also anticipated to impact the growth of steel shafts in country. Thank you, sir.
Steel production is 24 hours a day, depends of consistency of raw material supply and the huge amount of energy. According to the World Steel Association, steel production increased from 851 million tons in 2001 to 1,600 million tons in 2013. The world average steel use per capita in 2001 increased from 150 kg to 225 kg in 2030. Steel typically produced by two ways. The first way is refining iron ore, and the second way is recycled scrap steel. Let's start with refining iron ore. Steel making process start with mining rock from mine. Mining has many ways to mine, such as using explosion to get ore. Separate iron ore and other material from rock and get from mining by using magnetic roller. Take iron ore, coal, and limestone, put them together in the blast furnace. This process will produce molten iron or iron pig. The molten iron passes through continuous caster into its form until it's cooled, which is then converted into steel. Let's go to recycling scrap steel. This is some process of recycling steel scrap. Steel scrap is often melted in an electric arc furnace. Molten steel undergo further refining to reduce the level of impurities such as phosphorus, sulfur, and to bring the carbon to the desired level.
So, very good evening. I'm gonna talk about the table property of steel. So here we're gonna have the property, symbol, value, and units for the steel. In the other name of steel is iron carbide. So the property is the thermal conductivity, density, specific heat, solidus temperature, liquidus temperature, and absorption coefficient. Thermal conductivity is value 20, density is 8,000 kilo, specific heat is 400 joule. So solidus temperature 1500 degrees Celsius, liquidus temperature is 1525 degrees Celsius, and absorption coefficient is 1 times 5 meter. So please remind of these 2 points of solidus and liquidus because we're gonna see it on the phase diagram after this. The other property of steel is the stirring temperature of martensite and the austenization temperature. So both of these also we're gonna see it in the phase diagram after this. Please remember the both of the value of the temperature. So here is the phase diagram. First we're gonna see is the solidus temperature 1500 degrees Celsius gonna be in this area. So it will be the solidus. And then the liquidus temperature is 1525 degrees Celsius. Gonna little up here rather than the solidus. So it will be here in liquidus state. After that, the martensite is the temperature of martensite is 350. So 350 degrees Celsius. It's going to be in this area. So the martensite, the austenization temperature is 750 degrees Celsius. Going to be in this area. So this is the state of the steel in certain temperature. So, do you understand of this phase diagram? So the reason we want to set up the steel factory in Kuantan, first we're gonna supply to the Arga Hecom. So because the Arga Hecom produce a good spare part for the automotive industry. Second, we're gonna also supply to the Kuantan port to have a good spare part there. And the reason is why the steel is stainless and very high quality metal and stronger than other metal. So this is the reason why we wanted to set up the steel factory and supply for these two industry in Kuantan. So that's all for me. Thank you.